Now we'll see the forms in HTML, and this one is the like most important one. So obviously you will be building a lot of forms in your website. So let me just go live. I think it's some ended, so I'm now live on server. So it starts with the form tag only, like as the name suggests. So we just have to write form like this. Okay, yeah. So closing and opening. So this is the way you can just write form and whatever data you want to provide. So suppose we provide an input tag, input, and we'll say type, and we'll say text obviously, and we'll just close it, and we'll see there's an input tag there. So but we want to tell, okay, enter your email. So we'll say enter, or we just say name, enter name, enter name. So it's a form and we are asking users to please provide their name. And let me just click it here, and so it's much prettier. Okay, if I copy it again, and now I'll say enter email. So for that I'll say enter email, and for email we'll say type mail, email, sorry, not mail, email. So this is how we got enter name, enter email form. So but we, this is on the same line, so we'll say br, so it will break the line like this. So now it's got on the second line. So if I save it, yeah, so it's now look much better. Let me just, yeah, so it's saying okay, enter the name, enter the email, but after entering, how to submit it? So we have one more tag called input tag, and we'll say type is equal to, it's a submit, we are submitting the form, so it's a type submit. Save it. So we got the submit button. Okay, we can just submit it like, see, it's sending the request, but we are not sending it anywhere, so it's doing like this. I'll tell you like how to send and all that stuff. If you change the value, like, so you say value equals to, and we'll say submit form. So by default it shows submit, so if we use a value, so it will show submit form. And here also we can put a br tag, so it looks better on the another line, and we can use one more. Yeah, so this is the way we can submit our forms. And one more here, so a little space. Yeah, so this way we can we'll say Zeno, and we'll say Zeno at the rate gmail.com, or let it be. And if I just do email as required, save it, and if I see, it's not telling me please fill out the details, because this is the required one, you have to write something here. So you can do like this for required if you want. And there's something also called placeholder, this thing you already know. I'll say enter name, so this will now automatically appears, and if I, as soon as I enter, it will like go away. And if in the mail, if I just write something like qwer and submit it, so it's showing it's not an original email address, because it should support an at the rate and something like that. So we'll say Zano at the rate gmail.com. So in input tags we have read these things, but these things weren't working because the form element wasn't present. So this form element should be present to act this, to make these elements act like a form. Okay, so let me just remove this placeholder and make it prettier, so we can just study it easily. Enter name, enter email, but you should like wrap this up in different, so this is one thing, you know, this is one thing, and this is another thing. Okay, so just wrap this up in different divs. You can do like div, it's not necessary, but it'd be better. So if we can wrap every section in another part, then we'll again we'll say div, paste it here, and again we'll open a div. So now we have put everything in different, so this is one div, This is another div for email, and this is for input type submit form. And now there's one thing called label also. So the way we are writing enter name, so we can just remove that and write label instead. So we'll say let me remove the div. So for the betterment, I'm removing the div to let make you understand better, but in real you should have the div. Okay, let me first remove the divs so make you understand better. So I'll say label, and here I'll say, instead of here I'll say enter name here. Okay, and this is the way we can tell. Okay, this is the enter name, and here we have a property called name. Already you know, we'll say name. So every input tag has a property called name. It's for every input tag, and here we can give the name of that input tag. So basically I'm acquiring the name, so I'll say name. Okay, or maybe f name. So I'm recording the first name maybe, and here I'll just make it first. So I'm acquiring the first name, so I wrote f name, and here I'll say for f name. If I save it, so now it's showing you, okay, it's for f name. So I haven't put a br also here, obviously not needed. So it's, you can see it, label is for making it clear, okay, this is this input tag is this for this label. Same thing we'll do for here also. We'll say label, and here we'll say email, and we'll say for equals to mail, and here I'll say name. What name? Oh, obviously mail. See, enter email, and so okay, I have this thing I haven't removed. See, now this is much more clear. Okay, this is for this. Obviously before also it was clear, but label is used to tell the users uh how what input tag is for what, and it also helps in the browser to recognize very fast like which element is for which, and when you play with css and javascript also it will be helpful. Okay, so now you can see it's now sending the data to some place. So if I just reload, okay, let me just do like this. Okay, so if I just say submit form like this, so it's sending the data f name equals to, but data is not present, so it's not showing. Then mail equals to, because we have the name f name and we have the name mail. It's not because of the label. You can just remove the label also like this, it doesn't matter. Okay, now if I just remove this and again submit it, so f name and mail. So if I say f name Zeno and mail Zeno whatever at the rate gmail.com admin, yeah. So now if I submit it, so it's sending somewhere question mark f name equals to Zeno, whatever name I have written, and mail equals to Zeno, and this at the rate 40 means this percentage 40 means at the rate gmail.com. Okay, but on what page I have to send? So I'll say action. So here you write the page name. So I'll say like you must be have some page when you'll submit form. So I'll just say normal submit dot php or whatever, not dmb, like this submit. So this may be a page name. So if I just remove this part and let me write one value only, so it can be shown in the same url, not we don't have to go there. Please include at the rate. So I have told the type email, so let me make it to text only. So yeah, so if I submit it, q submit form, so now it's showing cannot get. So what happening, it's sending out to page called submit.php as written here, but we don't have the page, so that's why it's sending cannot get. And there are some methods. So by default it's a get method, so it's sending a get request, and then there is another method called post. You can either use post or get is by default. If you don't write it like this time, I have submitted the form and it's made a get request. Now we'll make a post request. Okay, for the same thing, when you're submitting something always use post request. Okay, now you'll see one thing different. So if I'll say John and s5 at gmail.com. Now if I submit the form, so now the form got cannot get, because obviously we are sending the post but the post is not present, so that's why it's saying post not, this page is not present. If I just remove this action, now action means just submit the page in the same page file, like the data, so it will go in the same page. If we go in the same, so nothing is shown because it's going in the same page and auto reloading. See, so this is the way you can use form, and there are few more things. So suppose see, if I just write a mail is automatically showing, so if you want to don't want to show automatic email, so we'll say auto complete equals to false. If I go here again, okay, it's something like this only. I'm not recognizing how does it work. uh okay, so it's not false, actually it's off. I was writing false, sorry guys, so it's off. So now if I go here and then autocomplete name, the suggestions is not showing. If I just remove this autocomplete off, save it, now the suggestions are appearing again. So this is the way you can send the data, and it's like method, not method post. And we just write John and submit the form. See, the page isn't working, we can't send the data because obviously the form isn't present. Like the page isn't present on what page it should send action. So because it's a post, so that's why it's throwing an error. So when you will have some backend, then it will work properly. Then we have something called in type. So it's like something, it's the what type of, in the what form you can send the data. So there is one as written here, application slash xww form URL encoded. So it will encode your data, so data can't be manipulated, and it will be received on the backend. Then multi-part form data, so when you submit a file or something like that, so then this encryption is used. Or normal text plain, it's normally a text plain only, obviously always use if you don't define anything. Okay, now there is something called target. So if I just remove this, so these things you can't see until and unless you have some backend. If I say target equals to underscore blank, so I'm just telling just don't go anywhere. Okay, so if I submit a form, see it's going to a new page. Basically on that page it's not going anywhere. What I'm trying to say, if I submit the form, it will submit the form in the new page. Okay, so it's showing not working because obviously we are not doing, we don't have any backend or something like that. And by default sends the record from the same page only. Like if I submit it from here, it will send it from the same page only. Okay, so these were some like how you can control form, but it is nothing, it everything is when you have like a JavaScript, then it's much better to control things. So yeah, so that's it from my side in forms, guys. So we can just remove this part, save it.